Hello, and thank you everybody for joining me today. I'm Sherry, and today we're going to virtually visit Greece. I'm super excited. Greece is somewhere I myself have never visited, but it's definitely on my bucket list. So before we get started, as always, I just have a couple of housekeeping items for anybody that's new to our presentations. So it is a live presentation, so we do sometimes have glitches. For the most part, they do correct themselves within about 30 seconds, so please just be patient. However, if you did join us last week where that didn't happen and the glitch lasted just a little bit longer, and you weren't able to view the rest of the presentation, we will be posting it to our YouTube channel next week for you. So it should be up there on Monday for you. Okay, as well as this presentation also is recorded and it will be posted probably by Monday as well too to our YouTube channel. So if you are using a handheld device, you may want to just unlock your screen view and turn the screen to landscape mode, just sideways, and that'll give you a nicer view of the presentation today. Screenshots are always welcome if you're on a mobile device or an iPad. There might be some website information. There may be some email addresses that you may want to keep for future reference. We do also have a live chat Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen. So any questions that you may have for our experts today, please post your questions in the Q&A chat, and Shannon, our moderator, will ask our experts to answer them at the end of the presentation. So we really do have an awesome show for you today, so let's get started. Today, joining us is Nicole and Susan from Air Transat. Greece is one of their most popular spots, so they're happy to tell us all about it. So of course, we do also have our SelloffVacations agents. They're going to share their personal vacation memories too. So we have Melanie from our Moncton, New Brunswick office joining us today, and we also have Elena from our Surrey, BC office joining us today. So Nicole and Susan, thank you so much for joining me today. Nicole, Susan? Hello?
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Glad to have you here. So Greece is a very popular destination for Canadians. Can you tell the viewers what it is specifically that draws Canadians to Greece?
For sure. I would say that the country of Greece really offers something for everyone. So you can have a very busy vacation in Greece filled with sightseeing, visits to museums, or shopping and partying into the wee hours. Or you can actually relax on an island with some of the most beautiful scenery you can find in the Mediterranean and really laid back locals and a wonderful atmosphere. Or you could actually combine a bit of all of those things and make a really unique vacation. So really it's got so much to offer that you can customize it to your own personality, which I think is quite a perfect way to vacation. It's also typically sunny throughout the year with warm, dry weather, with temperatures in the high 20s starting from May and carrying on right through September. We at Transat have been offering flights and vacation packages to Greece for over 30 years. So we really are the experts in putting together a variety of vacation packages that include flights, transfers, accommodation, and more, depending on what the vacationer chooses. So not only is it easy to plan a Greek vacation, and perhaps even more importantly, very easy to navigate once you are there.
I personally love all the sunsets as well that come through. It's a really, as Nicole touched on the islands, you know, the diversity of each island is also fantastic because you can kind of customize what you want to do. You know, you can go there, discover which ones you like, and go back and see them all over again. And the attractions are amazing for sure. So something like the Acropolis would also be something that really hits home with me that I love too.
All right, so clearly you both have traveled to Greece before. What would be a personal highlight from your travels there?
For me, I find that because I enjoy photography so much, it really is a photographer's paradise. There's archaeological sites, ruins, beautiful landscapes, gorgeous sunsets over the Aegean. People are friendly, so I find that it's just the variety that Greece offers, which wraps all together to make it all a highlight for me.
And you, Susan?
So for me, I really enjoy the islands. Those are definitely my highlight. Of course, Athens has a uniqueness to its own. It's so rich in history, and really has a lot of culture to offer as well. But I really like Mykonos. Mykonos is something that's very dear to me. There's something about walking along the beach right there, that beach, and seeing all these fantastic yachts all tied up. And I mean, these are yachts. These are not boats that we would typically see in Canada, that's for sure. And just the beautiful sites with all the amazing hotels that's offered by Transat. We have great options, and these beautiful sites, of course, with all the the whitewashed buildings. And this is actually Mykonos as well. So just it's magical. That's really what it is.
That's awesome. So Mykonos would be your favorite island. Susan, do you have a favorite island, Nicole?
I love Santorini and I love Mykonos, but one of my favorites is a tiny little island of Patmos, which is so off the beaten track. Where Mykonos and Santorini have great dining and great nightlife, Patmos is really a relaxing spot, and something about it really speaks to me.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So in your opinions, now that you're the expert travelers to Greece, what are your absolute must-see and do things for visitors for Greece?
You can't go and not see the Acropolis, of course, and this is me there in the Acropolis a few years ago. So my advice, though, is to definitely build some time into your schedule to do absolutely nothing at all. So in Athens, I suggest you take some time just to wander around the Plaka, going from shop to shop, with a stop or two, maybe, in a taverna. And definitely when you're in the island, sit at a plaza for an entire afternoon into the evening to take in the beautiful sunset. Just relax, enjoy the sound of the sea, and there's usually live Greek, traditional folk music being played, and just, like I said, do nothing.
Excellent. Susan, what about you? What's your must-see?
So I'm a little bit more on the go, definitely. I do like to people watch. I'm not saying I don't, but we love when we travel, of course. And, and I have to say that Greece has been a personal vacation choice, not even just for work, but it's something that my husband and I, we decided to go. And like I said, it is magical. So that's why we loved going there. And there's so much to talk about for Greece today. It's just hard to narrow everything down. But I know Nicole touched on the Acropolis. Definitely that was something. Again, go through Athens and see all the great ruins that are there as well. Those are must see. But again, I also do like to spend some time, and you get to have a nice meal and enjoy as well.
Awesome. So my favorite question, speaking of meals, is usually the food related question. So what are the dishes and drinks that I should order when I'm there? Nicole, we'll start with you.
Sure, absolutely. Yep. So now we're talking. Yes, I makes it sound like I like to relax and take pictures, but I do like to eat as well. And Greek food is great. I personally am near Toronto, so I like to experience Greek town here, and we're quite familiar with Greek food, but there is something to be said for having a Greek meal in Greece. So the saganaki, spanakopita, or just a simple pita with fresh tzatziki is fantastic. Of course, followed by baklava. You can't miss out on that. Oh yes, and fresh calamari with a squeeze of fresh lemon. Fantastic.
To die for. Susan?
Well, you saw some pictures there of myself in front of a big plate of Loukoumades, and to our excitement, my husband and I, who, everyone likes something free in life, right? When we were dining out throughout Greece, they were giving us free desserts with our meals, and we're like, wow, this was exciting. So a plate of Loukoumades that when you bite into them, they're just little wee donuts and this big burst of honey, and honey in Greece is fantastic, is really great. And then you can dip it in a little bit of chocolate or some ice cream. And also the fresh fish. I mean, the fresh fish is available all day, every day, which is great. And like just a little word of warning, you saw some pictures earlier, but when you order a fish, you're ordering the whole fish. But you can't say it's not fresh because it comes right out of the Aegean Sea just before you actually sit down. So fantastic, fresh, pretty much almost organic food.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And it looked like beer was
yes.
plentiful.
The beer was good. It's a really nice, light tasting beer. Very refreshing. There's nothing like a nice cold beer on a very hot day.
All right. All right. So next up is shopping. So what are the top items that I should be shopping for when I go to Greece?
So number one, I highly recommend bartering, right? They do love a good barter there. So if you see a price, always knock it down a little bit and work with, of course, the shopkeeper. But from my experience, they're very into linens. Linens is a big item there, as you can see in the photo. If you're looking for that perfect tablecloth, I'm pretty sure you're going to find it in Greece. Leather, of course, you want some great leather purse, leather belts, jewelry, gold, that type of thing. So lots and lots of shopping there. And really, if you're going all the way to Greece, make sure you bring your home something like a nice keepsake for sure.
Sounds like I'll need an extra suitcase just to come home with.
That's right.
So when I'm shopping, what type of currency should I be using in Greece?
So it's definitely the euro is widely accepted. And as Canadians, you know, you have lots of great places to convert your money to, bring it over with euros, and everyone takes it.
Oh, excellent. And is English widely spoken? So when I'm bartering, am I going to have any issues bartering?
You know, I've been to Greece 3 times. Yes, I feel very fortunate, but I can tell you there was not one time that we didn't have any problem with any of the language. You know, tourism is a large part of Greece. They take it very seriously, and I think it'll be hard pressed to find someone who does not speak English.
Okay, excellent. And I noticed that most of the markets are open air, so weather would be important to me. When's the best time to go to get the best weather?
Yeah, so for sure, as I mentioned earlier, from May right through to September, you're looking at temperatures in the high 20s. At least, right?
Yeah.
And very little rain, which is good. And that's between May and, you know, definitely into September, you can still be swimming in the Aegean Sea. But it is also quite popular, we find, for people going April and October, so more of those shoulder season. So you might not be brave enough to dip into the Aegean Sea, but if you're sightseeing, the temperature comes down a little bit, especially in the evenings, which for a lot of people, that makes it even more enjoyable. You really can't go wrong. And these are the months where we actually offer flights. You know, while tourism can be popular year round in Greece, for Canadians, it is really even June through to the end of August, which are the most popular months.
Okay, excellent. So Air Transat does have a variety of vacation packages for Greece. Are there any specific vacation packages that you yourselves would recommend?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. And because we've been doing Greece packages for so long, we really have put together what we feel, well, what we know, honestly, what Canadians are looking for. So there is a lot of variety. We have great package vacations, but we also have a la carte options. So, you know, we just ask somebody or suggest to people that they take time to go through the online material or brochure if you have it at hand, look for some things that appeal to you, see if one of the packages that we've already designed for you suits your desires, and if not, then we can also customize for you. So that's what we call FIT. So this is where you're more on your own and independent. But for us, we do find that most Canadians are most interested in what we've already packaged, making it very easy to plan and once you're there for sure. So on the screen right now, we have a hotel called the Caneta Beach Resort and Spa. And this is an almost all-inclusive, which is quite rare when you get out of the Caribbean and Mexico, right? But very popular for Canadian travelers. So the Caneta Beach Resort and Spa kind of takes a little bit of that almost all-inclusive flavor that we're used to, but drops it in a perfect location. The beach isn't sandy, but still quite comfortable, and you can definitely go swimming. And it's just less than 60 kilometers from Athens. So I would recommend the Caneta for somebody who perhaps has gone to Greece before and has spent a nice bit of time in Athens or on the islands, and now they're looking for a little bit more of a stay put, but close enough that you can go into Athens if you want a few times a week, perhaps. Or I would recommend the Caneta Beach Resort and Spa as an add-on to another vacation package. But I will say that one of our most popular vacation packages, especially for first-time visitors to Greece, is the Aegean Splendor. So this is where we have 3 nights on a cruise and 4 nights in Athens. So it's a 1-week package. And what happens, it depends on where you're flying from and what day you arrive in Greece, because sometimes you can have all of your nights in Athens before or after the cruise, or sometimes it's split up a little bit. But that aside, during the cruise portion, you spend time in Mykonos and Santorini and in Crete, which are 3 of the most popular Greek islands, plus Patmos that I mentioned, my little quiet spot that I love to visit. And then the cruise also visits Kusadasi in Turkey, where you explore Ephesus, which is an archaeological site, a lot of history. It used to be the most important port in the Mediterranean. It's really interesting ruins there. And also when you're in Turkey, it's always fun to go to see a display of the Turkish rugs. A lot of people come home with a rug, but you sip your apple tea as they're doing this wonderful, very colorful display of the rugs. It's certainly different than rug shopping here in Canada, that's for sure. So the Aegean Splendor, because it has that mix of the islands as well as Athens, we like to call it like our sampler. And this is why it's particularly popular, I would say, with people that haven't been to Greece before, because perhaps this is your first trip to Greece and then you fall in love with Mykonos or Santorini, and the next time you go back, you could look at doing one of our multi-island packages.
Awesome. Susan,
So
I
just
think
to
you have
add
a
on to
favorite.
Nicole, the packages are the best way to travel financially as well. We put them together so well, and you know, Nicole and I both have taken these packages, of course, with Transat, and you know, it is seamless travel. Really, we do it. We've done Greece, as Nicole said, for over 30 years, and we do it really, really well. But for me, I really enjoy the island hopping, as I kind of touched on earlier, and I recently did the Alpha package, which is a really great combination of Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos, and you have all the transfers are included for you, including a ferry transfers to the different islands, and of course the air with Air Transat and all the hotels. So I just want to point out we have 3 different options you can choose from when you're booking our different packages. And I think it's very important to, you know, realize that you're going all the way to Greece. So my recommendation, and you learn these things personally as you travel as well, I don't say you always have to go for the top. I know everyone has different price ranges, but there is a big difference between our options with hotels, locations, transfer times, and things like that. Even breakfast that's included, what type of breakfast you're getting. So we went with option 3 because we wanted the hotels to be right where we wanted them to be. And also the transfers on the ferry really were shorter than, say, option 1 transfer. So we were all going to the same place, but we all arrive at different times. So just keep that in mind. The difference between option 1, 2, and 3 are all, of course, tiered, and they're very marginal between them. So I'm really going to say, if you're going to go, you want to make sure you get to those locations as fast as possible so you can enjoy a beautiful hotel like this and go for a little dip. So I really enjoy the Alpha Island hopping package, but we have many to choose from, and that's just my personal choice.
Awesome. Well, I'd go on any of those any day.
Let's go.
yeah, exactly. I'm there. So right now, we know with COVID, is Greece open to Canadian tourists?
Yeah. So Greece is one of the countries that opened up their borders, you know, in a pretty timely fashion, I would say, but still being quite cautious and conscientious of the fact that we are all living through this globally. I will say that what we do recommend is that before you book something, that you really take the time to speak to your travel consultant so that they can look into what the most current information is. You know, we are finding that since the pandemic started to hit, especially us here in Canada, that there have been a lot of changes and bumps along the road and such. So, you know, just that it's a place is open, and when a regulation that they might have in effect today might be different in a week's time. So a couple of things that are quite important in my opinion is that you have good conversation so that you are aware of what restrictions, if any, there will be. And that's not just for Greece, it's for anywhere that you might be traveling these days. And to be flexible and understanding, and things may be different, but they're safe, which is the most important thing for everyone to remember. And also, it's just a matter of thinking what's going to work best for you. And if you're not comfortable traveling this year to Greece, then now is actually a great time to be starting to look for summer of 2021 as well.
Oh, excellent. That's great advice. So can you walk us through sort of what it would be like to board a Transat aircraft right now with safety measures that you've got in place?
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a question everybody wants to know, right? So again, I recommend that people take some time. We've got great information on our website as well, and it can be up to date or updated. So right now, we will always listen to the rules and regulations that are imposed on an airline or any tourism company, but we also know that we have to be flexible. So we've always have a plan A, B, and C. But basically, I will say the big things that more of us are getting used to in our daily lives, you will be expected to wear a mask at the airport and on the flight. Obviously, you're going to remove your mask to have a drink and a meal. We do still serve meals on our European flights. When you get on the flight, it will be very explained to you. Our flight crew is trained in these new measures, of course. We will be using our Transat app more than ever to communicate with people, and we recommend that you do your check-in before you get to the airport using the app, things like that. Other things that are a little bit different, our meal service, although it will be there, it's a little bit different. We won't have our duty-free or our onboard magazine in the seat pocket. We'll do more communication through the seatback entertainment system, just to remove some touch points, right? If there's no need to have a piece of paper there that's handled by multiple people, then let's remove it off the flight. And then other things, like when you get to the destination, if you're booking a package with us, as we mentioned, it includes your flight as well as your transfer, and we have destination service people on the ground in Greece to help our Canadian travelers. So the buses, there'll be more spacing on the buses. Our staff will be wearing masks. We do provide a mask as well as the disinfectant wipes and stuff on board the aircraft. So it is a big responsibility. It's at the very core of what we do is we are voted for quite a few years as the world's best leisure airline, and we know in order to do that, we've got to be very conscientious of people's concerns. The other important thing I will say to right now as a piece of advice while we are in this COVID situation is, again, taking that time to talk to your travel consultant and SelloffVacations. They have great travel consultants that are well aware of different flexibility programs that are in place, and it's very important that you investigate what's best for you and your family or traveling companions.
Yeah, that's great. That's excellent advice. So thank you both so much, Nicole and Susan. Up next, we have Melanie from our SelloffVacations branch in Moncton, New Brunswick. Melanie, can you please tell us about your Greek vacation?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis super contente d'être avec vous pour cette présentation aujourd'hui. My name is Melanie Dueron, and I am the branch manager in the Moncton, New Brunswick office. Just a little background on myself. I took my travel course right out of high school and started with SelloffVacations shortly after. Next month will actually mark my 19 years with the company, and I couldn't be more proud to work for such an amazing organization. Selloff over the years has provided me with the opportunity to see many beautiful places, but I have to say that Greece was one of my most memorable vacations. I traveled to Greece on our annual Star Elite trip back in June of 2014. We did a 5-night Lewis cruise, which is now called Celestial Cruises. And what I loved about it is that it gave us the opportunity to see many different Greek islands in just a few days. Our first stop was the beautiful island of Mykonos. Things that stood out to me for Mykonos were the beautiful beaches, a very chic atmosphere, amazing food, very easy to walk around, and great shopping. And one thing that I really liked is they have something for everyone when it comes to shopping. So you can go to the local markets, and then they also have little higher end like Louis Vuitton. Our next stop was the island of Patmos. Patmos coming in, as you can see, is just very, very lush, lots of mountains. And other things that stood out to me were the beautiful churches. The architecture was just amazing. Next up was Rhodes. We visited the old town in Rhodes, which is a no-car zone, which makes it very easy and safe to walk around on the cobblestone streets. It has a very medieval feel with lots of castles. Great shopping again. And just to mention also, don't be afraid to bargain. Definitely bargain. The highlight for me in Rhodes was something that I've always wanted to do, and that is the fish spa. So it's roughly about €7, which is about $11 Canadian for 15 minutes. So you can definitely add on more time if you want. The next morning, we woke up in Crete. Crete is beautiful, ancient ruins, the stairs to nothing, which is in Knossos Palace. Again, a lot of walking, so definitely a little tip, make sure you have very comfy shoes. Next up is the dream location for so many travelers, Santorini. The views coming into Santorini were absolutely breathtaking. We took a bus up to the village of Ia, where is the famous picture that everyone wants to take of the whitewashed houses all along the coast. And just to say, of course, these pictures, they don't do it justice. You have to go and see it for yourself because it's truly amazing. You have two different options to go back down. So you can do either the donkeys or the cable cars. We really wanted to do the donkeys, but just based on time, because of course it takes a little bit more time to go down, we did the cable cars, which is also amazing. The views coming down are just phenomenal. Our cruise was now done. And the next up was sightseeing in Athens. So of course, must-sees in Athens, the Acropolis. The energy is just phenomenal. We saw the Colosseum of Athens as well. And then we had finished up in the Athens Plaka. So it's like a little village within the city. Great food and again, amazing shopping. We spent our last few nights at the Caneta Beach Resort, which is offered by Air Transat. It's a very clean, cute little hotel, roughly about 250 rooms. It's almost all inclusive. Very nice beach, very swimmable beach. It is very, very rocky. So definitely a little tip to bring water shoes. One of the main highlights for me at this hotel was that it's just roughly about a 45-minute train ride to the center of Athens. So if you feel like you don't have enough time when you're sightseeing, very easy to just take the little train ride back. I truly hope that my presentation has given you guys some good information, tips, and most importantly, has put Greece on your bucket list. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Elena from the SelloffVacations Surrey, BC branch is going to tell us about her fantastic Greek vacation.
Thank you, Sherry. Hello, my name is Elena Miller and I'm a travel consultant in Surrey, British Columbia. I have been in the travel industry for over 12 years and over 9 years with SelloffVacations. My 17-year-old son and I went on a vacation of a lifetime to Greece last year. Greece has been on my bucket list for a while, and when I asked my son where in Greece he would like to go, the answer was Santorini as a #1 place. We added Athens to the itinerary as well as a beach stay on the Pelion Peninsula and finished at the famous Monasteries of Meteora. I will briefly touch on the highlights of each region and show you my favorite photos from each place. The first stop was Santorini, and after a long flight from Vancouver, we landed in paradise. Santorini is arguably Greece's most spectacular island. It's famous for its dramatic views, stunning sunsets, and picturesque villages. We dropped off our bags at the hotel in the town of Fira and rushed down the cobblestone street just in time to see famous sunset. Look at the view we had our very first evening. This picture is of my son on our very first night, and he is dressed in the white and blue colors that Santorini is associated with. The next day, we visited Ia, the most famous of the villages on the island. Its iconic whitewashed houses cling to the steep edge of a volcanic crater, and it's surrounded by beautiful blue waters. Santorini is one of the world's most romantic places. It enjoys the reputation as a wedding destination. In fact, in this picture, you can see against the wall a little bit closer to the windmill, there is a wedding couple taking pictures for their wedding day. Piece of advice. Try to stay in Santorini for more than one day and visit Aegean in the morning hours when there is not so many crowds around. See that street here? That shot was taken at 10 a.m. and almost nobody on it. We returned back to Aegean in the time to see spectacular sunset, and it was crowded. The island itself has a population of 15,000 people, but there are 1.5 million tourists visiting every year. And look at the spectacular picture of sunset from Aegean. The next stop on our itinerary was Athens, and we went on 2 excursions. My son and I are both foodies, and we took the opportunity to participate in delicious food tour of Athens. It was a fantastic experience. Our guide took us to a number of local cafes and stores where we got to try all kinds of Greek foods, starting with baklava, continued with olive oil and tsipouro tasting. Tsipouro is a local strong Greek liquor, then Greek coffee and bougatsa. We stopped at a neat little restaurant and had the feast on Greek salad, moussaka, stuffed peppers, fava beans, and other Greek favorites. On the left-hand side, you can see the picture of that Greek restaurant, very colorful, very local, with lots of different Greek decorations. And on the right, that's how they serve Greek salad in Greece, with a slab of feta cheese and with a lot of oregano. My son joked that while we were in Greece, he ate about 2 kilograms of oregano. Greeks do love the spice, and they do put it in everything and everywhere, including pizza, and even we found one set on a dessert. If you have a teenager in your family, you know you have to work harder than usual to keep them happy. That's why, sorry, just going back to that slide, we also went to the market, and that's local market showing the fish and local seafood. Greece is famous for the seafood. You can have it everywhere, and it's very fresh. The next slide is my favorite Greek dessert, which is Loukoumades. Loukoumades is Greek donuts, and you can get them everywhere. You can dip them either in honey or in chocolate syrup. So next, we went on the excursion on Segways. And I thought I would do this excursion because of my teenager, to keep him happy and not to bore him to tears with other stuff, to put a little bit of fun in our itinerary. Some people were skeptical, saying, how can you see Athens on Segways, on those machines, take a bus tour or walking tour instead? However, we had a blast. As you know, it gets very hot in the summer in Athens, and we got to see a lot more places than we would on a walking tour, a lot faster, and it was so much fun. Our guides took us to famous sites and lookouts to the Acropolis with stunning views. We continued our tour on foot and went up the hill to the Acropolis itself with a different guide. This photo here is an ancient theater, Odeon of Herodes Atticus, on the way up. Interesting fact, you can still do live performances in this theater, and you can buy tickets in advance online if that might be of interest to you. We went and looked at the spectacular Acropolis. A lot of ladies already touched on that, so you can just have a look at my pictures. And when we came down, we stopped in a very neat little neighborhood called Anafiotika. Those little white houses is where the builders of the original Parthenon have lived. And those houses are still there up to nowadays, and they were restored and people still live in there. That's very neat, very unique neighborhood. I highly recommend you stop by and check it out. On the way out, it was already evening time, and we went down the steps and ended up on that little street, also in the same neighborhood. My son there in the middle of the street. On both sides, there are restaurants. People sit in the stairs and chat. Very lively atmosphere. It's illuminated. It's amazing and great, great food. Highly recommended. After we had intense several days of sightseeing, it was time for relaxation. Our travel brought us to the small village of Platanias in the Pelion Peninsula, where we rented a car and explored nearby villages, beaches, and tavernas. Look at the picture. I went one day on a hike and up the mountains, and olive groves are all around. Greece is famous for their olive oil. You can see it everywhere. For me, it was one of the first times I saw how olives grow, and it's just amazing. My favorite beach on the Pelion Peninsula was Murtia Beach, which is considered one of the best beaches in Pelion. When we explored around that beach, we found caves as well. Look at the color and the clarity of that water. There is not a lot of people around these parts of Greece because it's far away from major cities. Here, you can experience traditional Greek hospitality, amazing food and seafood in particular, and it's very inexpensive to eat here. In the next picture, you will see me eating langosta, which is part of the lobster family. That meal was a lunch and it cost about $15, just to give you an idea. Don't be afraid to travel around when you go to Greece. It's very easy to explore the sleepy little villages, try all kinds of food, and swim in warm, crystal clear, inviting waters. Just don't forget to apply for international driving permit, which will be required if you want to rent a car in Greece. You need to obtain it before you leave Canada. On this picture here, just myself and my friend in one of the little villages in the main square having a morning coffee. And in the next one, we stopped by to fill out our water bottles and those urns on the white wall depicting where you can do that. Very neat, very colorful. We left the best part for last. It's probably hard to imagine what I'm talking about when I showed you all these spectacular places before. Believe me, you haven't seen Greece if you haven't visited Monasteries of Meteora. Meteora means suspended in air. You can clearly see from the pictures why they were given this name. Monasteries perched on top of sandstone peaks and a marvelous sight to look at. A little bit of history. Not a lot of people know that before monasteries' construction in the 14th century, hermit monks first climbed these soaring stones to settle in the caves and hollows of the rocks as early as 9th century. In the picture on the left, you can see scaffolding there and underneath the cave, and monks just had to climb those rocks without anything and settle there. And on the right, you can see a monastery built right in the face of the rock. There is a town of Kalambaka at the bottom of those rocks. And people who live there, they would bring food to the monks. Here is a picture of my son, and on the background is this modern time of Kalambaka nowadays. Later in the 14th century, Greece was invaded by the Turks, and monks from different parts of the country came to Meteora and settled here in those inaccessible rocks. At that time, more than 20 monasteries of all sizes were constructed. With no steps and little access to the rest of the world, the monastic communities of Meteora flourished. To come and go, monks used to descend by the way of net, hitched over a hook, hoisted up and down by a rope, or retractable ladders. They would grow grapes, corn, and potatoes on the fertile lands below. Today, only 6 of the 24 monasteries are still active. Of these, 4 are inhabited by men and 2 by women, while each monastery has less than 10 inhabitants. Now monasteries are primarily tourist attractions. The road to the monasteries was built in the late 70s. And can you imagine, only 50 years ago, not a lot of people know that that place existed. That would change, though, in 1981, thanks to the Britain's most famous spy, James Bond. If you remember the movie For Your Eyes Only, it was filmed here. And Bond isn't the only fictional visitor to that place. The Eyrie in Game of Thrones, the one with the moon door in Tyrion's Castle, was inspired by Meteora as well. My son and I spent the night in the picturesque town of Kalambaka and went on 2 excursions. The first one was the sunset tour. You have to be there at that magic time of the evening to see monasteries and its surroundings in all its glory. I highly recommend, if you go there, to spend the night and not to miss the spectacular sight. It's also a photographer's paradise. My son took this picture here and he put it on his screensaver, and every time I look at it, it's just so breathtaking. The second excursion was during the daytime, and we went to visit different monasteries. You do have to wear long skirts or pants, and women need to cover their shoulders in order to be admitted to the monasteries. They do provide you some coverings at the entrance, but it's better to bring your own, especially now in the COVID times. You also have to bring something to cover your head and drink lots of water if you are there in the summertime. The monasteries are at the high elevation and heat is very intense. And I'm speaking from my own experience. My son suffered from a heat stroke when we were there during our second excursion. He drank a lot of water, but did not cover his head, and he had very unpleasant the rest of the day. In conclusion, I can only say one thing. Go to Greece, and if it's not on your bucket list, it should be there. Ancient history, spectacular sights, warm-hearted people, best food, famous beaches. All that makes Greece #1 place in my books. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alena. I didn't even know that those monasteries were there, so I'm definitely putting that part of Greece on my bucket list. So thanks again so much for sharing, everyone. So Shannon, who is our Q&A moderator, has been taking note of your questions for our experts. So Shannon, can you please ask our experts the viewers' questions?
I definitely can. Thank you, everybody. I've learned lots there. I've been to Greece myself as well, and it is amazing and makes me want to go again for sure. I do have several questions here, so we'll go through those. The first one here I have for you, Susan.
Okay.
Are there hotels that you would recommend within Greece?
So the good thing with Transat is we offer a really diverse lineup of different hotels. There's so many different ones on each island, in the city of Athens as well. We offer anything from 3 to 5 star, but to pick one, it's a tall order, but I will pick one.
Yeah.
If I can pick one in Mykonos, of course, is my favorite island. I would say the Mykonoan Ambassador. It is, it's part of the chateaus, and it is an absolutely beautiful hotel right on the water. You're just steps away from all the hustle and the bustle of all of the cafes, the restaurants, and they have all these outdoor night clubs. It's quite unique. So Mykonoan Ambassador would be my pick, definitely. And like I said, any hotel that we offer at Transat, we have really great locations, anywhere from 3 to 5 star.
Amazing. That sounds great. Thank you, Nicole. Alena, I have a question for you. Just want to take yourself off mute. Is Athens expensive? What islands that are not as popular or as busy as Santorini can you provide a relaxing beach vacation with some historical places to visit as well?
Yes, absolutely. So for Athens, no, I did not find that expensive at all. Of course, if you go to the Plaka, the most famous touristic place in Athens, you might want to just watch out and find some places that are not so expensive as the others, same as in anywhere in Canada. But street food is amazing. That would be my suggestion. The famous Greek souvlaki, they're very inexpensive, and it was just fantastic food or snack. The second question was about the islands. Yes, so you don't have to go to Santorini. You can go to a variety of different places in Greece and have everything that you want, relaxation. Mykonos is a little bit more touristic, but there is an island of Skiathos. For example, I can recommend, you can see some cultures there, you can have some fun there and relax. It has a lot of beaches, and also there is several different places. Corfu and Crete come to mind as well. Lots of histories there, and lots of places for relaxation.
Okay, that's great information. Thank you, Alina. I do have one more question for you, so I'll just ask that now. Do you know how much it would be to see the Acropolis?
Yeah, so the Acropolis, I believe it's 20 euro for adults over 25 years of age in the summertime from April 1st to October 31st, and 10 euros for adults over 25 years from November to March.
Okay.
And it goes depending on where you're visiting from and the time of the year, but this will give you an idea.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alina. Melanie, I have a question for you as well. Would you say, you mentioned that you cruised on your trip to Greece. Would you recommend a cruise around the islands as a good option?
Absolutely, I would, especially for first-time travelers to Greece. I think it's a wonderful option because it gives you a taste of all the different islands, and then you can definitely decide to go back and then spend a little bit more time at your favorite spots for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It would give you an option to see what you like best and then maybe go back and visit for a little longer. All right, that's great. And one more here for you, Melanie. Someone mentioned you can't, they mentioned you can't book air transit packages through SelloffVacations, can you? Can you just speak to that? Because I know we certainly can.
Yes, absolutely. So we're able to sell all of the Air Transat products. So if you guys need any information, you can definitely feel free to contact us directly and we would be happy to help.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you so much. Susan, I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
Someone asked, when will Air Transat start flying to Greece again?
Yes, so we start, actually have announced our flights. We fly right now from July 23rd right up until October. Okay. And we have flights from Toronto, Montreal, and also from Vancouver.
Okay, that's perfect. Amazing. And one more for you as well, Susan.
Sure.
What side of the road do they drive on in Greece?
They drive on the left, just like us.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Perfect. And Nicole, I have another question for you as well. Would there be pricing available for 2021 yet for the Greece packages?
There is for sure, and if I could go back a little bit, one of the things when you are searching online, the person mentioned earlier that they only see the Caneta package. Remember, some of the things as we're referring to them packages here today because they are packaged with a flight, transfer, accommodation, and sometimes other inclusions as well. But they can also be called tours, and they are more complex than, say, booking a vacation package to Mexico. So we do highly recommend that a conversation is had, which is why it's not always displayed on a website. So we encourage customers to talk to a travel consultant for sure.
Of course, yeah, for sure. All right, and one more for you as well, Nicole, actually. Do you have any tips on how to save on accommodations while in Greece?
Yeah, sure. If we talk about Athens, to start with, I think that, it's great if everybody traveled with an unlimited budget, but unfortunately that's not quite the case in all the time. Anyway, I would suggest that you figure out what your budget is and make some decisions of where you're willing to spend a bit more and where you want to save. You can certainly save money in Athens by staying just outside of the city center. For example, we have a great hotel, the President Hotel in Athens, and it's near a subway stop, and the subway Segways and the buses are very reliable in Athens, and taxis are plentiful. And it's, as Susan mentioned earlier, it's very easy to communicate with people in Greece, even if you don't speak Greek, and it's very easy to get into the center. However, if you think you're going to want to be in the Plaka every night because you're going for that great nightlife, then I would recommend that you spend a little bit more money and stay somewhere like the Electra Palace, which is right in the Plaka. One of our most popular hotels, I would say, in Greece is one that has absolutely splendid views, which would be the Devaney Palace, Acropolis. The name says it all. You're right there near the Acropolis. But if you want to save 30–40%, stay outside and just take some transportation into the city center.
Right. Sounds like there's lots of options there for anybody that's looking for any. And we have one more question here for the evening, and I'm actually going to put it to you, Melanie. Someone mentioned that they are hesitant to book because of the unknown with the COVID pandemic. Is there flexibility if they book and then another wave comes along?
Absolutely. So Air Transat has a really good program. It's called Option Flex. It's roughly about $99 per person. And what it does is it gives you the option of changing your departure date, changing destinations, changing hotels up to 72 hours prior to departure. There's also an option that you can transfer your package over to a friend or family member up to 30 days before departure. And then there's also the option of canceling and then provide a refund. Now, there's a lot more information, so I would definitely recommend that you guys contact us directly so that we can go more in depth with those details. But Air Transat definitely has a really good program that will give you a peace of mind.
Excellent. That sounds great. Certainly nice to know that if thinking about booking in the future. And a lot of the suppliers have lots of different promos on as well, and early booking bonuses. So definitely worth a reach out to one of our amazing agents. I'm going to put it back to you, Sherry. That was the last question of the evening.
Okay,
thank you, everybody.
That's excellent. Thank you, Shannon. So again, just a huge thank you to Nicole, Susan, Melanie, and Elena for sharing your knowledge about Greece with us today. I certainly learned a lot. I hope everybody else out there did as well. And I think we can all agree that Greece is on our must-do list for traveling. If you did have a question or had a question that we didn't get to today, our moderators, Pam and Shannon, will be on the chat to answer for about another 10 minutes or so. As well, please feel free to give us a call at 1-877-735-5633. And we will have our SelloffVacations agents available until 9 p.m. Eastern time today. You can also send an email to Melanie. She'd be happy to help you. And her email is moncton@selloffvacations.com. And you can email Elena, and she's at surrey@selloffvacations.com. They would both be more than happy to assist you with planning a Greek holiday or answering any questions you may have. We will be again posting this recording on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel's name is MySellOffVacations, and we do have all of our previous presentation videos posted there as well. So next Wednesday, we do have another great vacation spot featured for you. So same time, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, we will be visiting Turks and Caicos. So thank you, everybody, and see you then. Bye-bye.